You can sit perfectly still in a totally silent room and still feel completely exhausted, not because you've been doing hard physical labor, but because your mind simply refuses to stop talking. It is a heavy internal drain. Thoughts constantly race. Imaginary conversations loop for hours. You find yourself feeling anxious about disasters that haven't even happened yet. For most of us, this cycle starts the exact second we wake up. Before your brain is even fully conscious, you reach for your phone, flooding your waking nervous system with notifications, opinions, and endless fragmented information. This chart shows an average day's attention span, and you can see exactly how this constant bombardment removes all natural silence from daily life. Because attention is being pulled in a new direction every few seconds, you get these rapid spikes and crashes, and the line never returns to a calm baseline. Because we continuously feed the brain artificial highs, normal reality starts to feel agonizingly boring. You end up perpetually drained by the sheer effort of managing your own mental noise. Most people exist in a state of automatic reaction. A negative thought enters their head, and they automatically believe it and react to it as if it were an absolute truth. If an old, painful memory surfaces, the mind latches onto it. The brain starts physically reliving that past trauma on a continuous, unchecked loop. The mind feels uncontrollable when this happens, but the brain isn't broken. It simply has never been actively trained to filter its own automatic reactions. One of the most persistent misunderstandings in human psychology is the belief that you are your thoughts. A thought is simply a mental event. It appears, it stays for a moment, then it disappears. The danger comes when you blindly trust your internal critic. When the mind generates a sudden feeling of inadequacy or a panic-inducing prediction, believing it immediately locks you into that emotional state. Gaining true control over your mental state doesn't mean you somehow erase these thoughts. It means developing the ability to observe them objectively without letting them hijack your emotions. This concept is grounded directly in biology. Your brain has a feature called neuroplasticity, which is its biological ability to physically alter its own structure based on repetition. Whatever you repeatedly focus your attention on literally becomes structurally stronger inside your head. If you constantly direct your attention toward fear, comparison, and distraction, your mind becomes chaotic. If you direct it toward presence and discipline, it builds mental resilience. Because your brain physically adapts to its environment over time, inner peace is not a genetic gift. It is a biological trait that you can train through deliberate discipline. The most common tool for this retraining process is meditation. People often get this wrong. Meditation is not the act of stopping your thoughts. It is the active practice of observing them. When you first sit down in silence, it usually feels terrifying. That happens because stripping away your usual distractions exposes all the unresolved emotions and fears you've been ignoring. To help process that noise, you can use journaling as a mechanical tool. Writing physically extracts overwhelming thoughts from your head and organizes them into clear perspective on paper. Lasting healing and clarity only begin the exact moment you stop using technology to run away from your own internal discomfort. Your mental state is also deeply tied to your physical state. Physical exercise alters your brain chemistry, helping to naturally release built-up emotional tension. Conversely, sleep deprivation destroys your emotional regulation. Without enough rest, small daily problems feel catastrophic, and your impulse control rapidly decreases. You also have to control what you consume. Practicing a dopamine detox and curating your content prevents your brain from constantly absorbing the internet's baseline of negativity and outrage. You cannot build mental peace if you are continuously undermining it with a physically exhausted body and a toxic digital diet. Focus is a muscle, and like any muscle, it has to be continuously trained through deep, single-tasking work. After years of bad mental habits, progress is going to be slow. It will be nonlinear. Retraining your awareness requires immense patience. Every single action, every scroll on your phone, and every thought you entertain is actively training your mind for either chaos or clarity. Mastering your mind will not happen overnight, but committing to the process is the only way to transform your brain from a source of suffering into your greatest ally.